Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark movie fan.
I'm Wendy, and I'm a reformed Hallmark hater.
Today, we begin a series of reviews of fan favorite fall movies with a review of Falling for You. Hey, if you want to connect with us outside of the podcast, we'd love for you to follow us on Instagram. You can find us both at Girls Gone Hallmark for all things Hallmark and at Megan and Wendy for just life with us.
You can also jump into our Facebook group, Girls Gone Hallmark. There's a link in the show notes. It's been kind of light over there, I would say, the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we got to get in there and shake things up. I think after today, they're going to have some things to say to you, Wendy.
Okay. Uh-oh. Send your emails to Megan.
Let's hear a synopsis.
Oh, right. Radio.
Only because Wendy never reads our emails, so even if you send it directly to her, attention, Wendy.
I'm getting better. Yeah, I put in the subject line, attention, Wendy. We hate Wendy. It's okay. Synopsis for Falling for You. Radio host Lacey, played by Taylor Cole, is hosting a bachelor bake-off to raise money to save her radio station. Her radio station. When her star bachelor backs out, she enlists Zac, played by Tyler Hynes, a visiting businessman, to fill the spot.
Heyo, news and notes.
Yeah.
This movie originally premiered on October 6th, 2018.
I gotta say, we use IMDB a lot to fill in our notes, so on and so forth. This movie scored a 6.6 out of 10 rating on IMDb.
Did you compare that to anything else?
Like what?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's high on IMDb. I mean, I wouldn't want, that's like a D. That's not the rating I want.
Yeah.
But compared to a well-loved movie, what's Three Wise Men and a Baby on IMDb?
I don't know. You pull it up and see.
7.7 out of 10.
Still.
It's still pretty low.
Right? Okay, fine. Whatever. I just like to include the number in here, especially for a movie that's older. I just think it's an interesting tidbit.
I was just curious.
Especially because this is a quote unquote fan favorite.
Right?
6.6 is pretty low.
I don't disagree.
All right. You're going to take the next line because I will butcher all of the words in it.
Oh, no. This movie was filmed in Squamish, British Columbia. Some scenes were filmed at Quest University in Squamish's library and atrium, as well as the Sunflower Bakery and Cafe. There's literally one challenging word in there.
Squamish. It would have taken me 4 tries to say it. Tyler Hynes plays visiting businessman bachelor Zac Malone. This was his debut movie for the Hallmark Channel, if you can believe that. I went on to our Girls Gone Hallmark Instagram recently because I was unsure of the number of movies that Tyler has done for Hallmark. And so I asked the fans, because those Hynes, they know their stuff, right? And I was like, how many movies has he done? I got pages and pages and pages of responses, and they all fell between 10 and 16. I still don't have an accurate number. And then somebody messaged me and said, you can look on IMDb. Yeah, I know that. But on IMDb, I cannot decipher what's a Hallmark movie and what's not unless I click every single title to look at the picture to see if it has Hallmark branding. And Mama doesn't have time for that. So I thought, I'm going to go to the Hynes. The Hynes are going to tell me. I still do not know. I think it's 16. I think it's 15 with a cameo.
My Christmas Family Tree.
Yes.
Can I just make a note?
Yeah.
Haul Out the Holly has a 6.1 rating on IMDb. So I am just going to tell you right now, ratings are garbage.
Okay. All right. Back to Tyler Hynes. Of course, he's gone on to become our King of Hallmark. Remember when we did that bracket? Yeah, and my note says, since then he's debuted with X number of movies for the channel because I really don't know. I think it's 15 or 16. I don't know. Somebody email us, meganandwendy@gmail.com. I even tagged him on Instagram. I was like, please, I hope he would slide into our DMs and tell us, confirm with us.
Yeah.
But no, nothing from him.
Taylor Cole plays Lacey. She has 64 acting credits, including Aloha Heart from this year and Long Lost Christmas from 2022. Do you remember a little series called Summerland, starring one Lori Loughlin?
I do. It was on the CW.
I loved that show.
Did you? One season.
They
season
all
wonder.
lived in a house on the beach, and she was a surfer but had a teenage kid. Am I remembering that correctly?
Something like that. And Summerland is a real life place on the coast between here and Santa Barbara.
That's relevant because that was Taylor Cole's first acting acting gig. She played Erica Spalding for 21 episodes.
Yeah, I don't remember her.
I literally remember nobody but Lori Loughlin, and I feel like there was a guy who had like longer dark blonde hair.
Yeah, he was like the surfer boyfriend or husband or something like that, right? You know, it says here she played in 21 episodes, but in my mind, I thought that was only on one season. Could there have been more than 20 episodes in one season?
22 episodes is a pretty typical season length.
For an hour-long show?
For any show. Like West Wing had 22 episodes a season.
Okay.
Pre-streaming, that's how long shows were.
I know. I'm just used to like 10.
Yeah.
Because they want you to binge it.
We live in a different world now.
We do. This movie was based on a book called Baking for Keeps by Jessica Gilmore.
No.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm just saying I hate it.
You hate what?
Baking for Keeps?
Yeah, I know. I don't like these names. I don't like...
That's not the problem, actually. I hate the story. We'll get into it.
Oh, okay. All right.
The script was written by Joie Botkin, who has 20 previous writing credits, including this summer's Loves Greek to Me and #Xmas and our Italian Christmas memories from last year's Countdown to Christmas.
Do you remember what we said about Joie Botkin?
I do, because I said it. I think she writes stories with complicated relationships.
Yes, this movie was not one of them.
Agreed.
But yes, I agree. I think she's come a long way since this movie.
Yeah, I actually don't blame the writing here.
Oh my God, we're going to get into it. Okay. Peter DeLuise directed. Now, do you remember who Peter DeLuise is?
I'm picturing Dom DeLuise. So are you.
No, is that their dad? Is that his dad?
I don't know.
Well, okay. While you look that up, I'll tell you. Peter DeLuise, he was on the original 21 Jump Street. He has 80 directing credits, including last year's Hanukkah on Rye and tons of When Calls the Heart episodes. He also has 55 acting credits, including the unauthorized Full House story where all roads lead back to Lori Loughlin in this movie. Peter DeLuise is also the brother of Michael DeLuise, who played TJ on Gilmore Girls.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, look. They are the sons of actors Dom DeLuise and Carol Arthur.
Okay, so it's a stacked family.
Who knew TJ was
You didn't
Hollywood
know that?
born?
Oh, I knew that.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I love that. He's such a bozo on that show.
I know. You know what? I was trying...
A lovable bozo, to be clear.
Me too. I was trying, and I'm deep into Gilmore's watch right now. I have not reached the season where TJ comes into the picture. But do you remember the episode where he's telling Luke, he's like, I'm not doing something here. And he says the word, and I can't remember what it is. Does this sound familiar at all?
I mean, it sounds like every conversation TJ has.
It's like, I'm black in here. I don't know what he says. I can't remember. It's going to drive me crazy until I see the episode.
Oh,
I'll report back. I will report back. Do you know that there are a lot of Hallmark fans who listen to our podcast who are also fans of Gilmore Girls?
That makes sense. They're parallel universes to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversation in our DMs on Instagram about Gilmore Girls
crossover.
In fact, Great Smoky Mountains stars Dean's girlfriend, Lindsay.
Wow. 6 degrees of Hallmark. Finally, this movie also stars Linny Evans as Patty, Brandy Alexander as Beth, and Chris Shields as Golden Bachelor Ben.
You know, thank you for laughing at that.
These are Wendy's notes. I was just reading them, so it took me a minute, but I got there. It's great. It's a great line.
I mean, and also justice for Brandy Alexander. Why is she always in these small, tiny, roles? She never has a lead role. Never.
Yeah, justice for Brandy. Let's talk first impressions of Falling for You.
Okay. You want me to go first? You're looking at me. I'll tell you what mine is. Oh my God, we get it. There's a Bachelor Bake-Off happening. Is this all Lacey talks about on her stupid radio show?
Yeah, I'm not tuning into that. My first impression is please stop doing movies that have a fundraiser element when you bozos clearly have no idea how to run a fundraiser.
Yeah. Fundraisers don't work like that.
Literally talk to a PTA mom. Surely someone on staff is married to someone who was in the PTA who could hold your hands through how these things work. Yeah. With the number one rule being you're not going to hand out raffle style tickets as the ticket for entry to your thing without any sort of record keeping of who's handed you cash in a random coffee shop for them. Wow. Got right into it there. Shall we talk about what we liked?
Okay. while it was all fake news fall, I gotta say, I was in love with all of the fall stuff everywhere.
Loved the faux fall. Loved it.
And you hate faux fall.
I do. And it was noticeable. Like, it grabs your eye. You're like, that's not real.
Yeah.
But I loved the ambiance that it gave it. We've been complaining that many of our fall movies just have, like, the fall harvest banner in the corner, but have nothing to do with fall. This did not do that, and I liked it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. You know, I think it's just because we don't get that kind of fall here in Southern California. So, like, a couple of girls that live...
We did last year. Remember, like, the leaves changed last year? It was so weird.
No, I don't.
Remember in my neighborhood, you pulled in, you're like, there's fall foliage here. And then, oddly, like, all the leaves fell on the ground in my neighborhood, and my husband and I would go for a walk, and he was like, well...
Maybe we will live here for the rest of our lives.
That he didn't go that far, but...
Your husband doesn't have that kind of voice either. So, I have a few likes. Tell me what you liked about this movie.
Okay.
I have a feeling your list is small.
They're little things. It's not that small, but there's, like, moments that I loved. I loved Zac bringing Lacey a cookie rather than flowers for their lantern walk date.
Mm-hmm.
I'd prefer that.
Me too. But then I would be like, do you think I'm fat? Because you think I would prefer a cookie over flowers, which I would prefer either of them, to be quite honest.
I loved the sweet moment when their kiss was interrupted, and then Lacey makes it happen anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I love Tyler's cozy cream cardigan.
Oh my God, a chunky cardigan. Yeah, he wore a cardigan a lot in this movie.
Yes.
A lot.
It really brings home the fall for me.
Did your husband wear cardigans like that? Like a button-up cardigan?
No, but I wish he would. It's a good look.
Mine doesn't either.
I also love the idea of a lantern walk. That's a fun holiday event.
I agree. I think that is such a cute event.
Yeah. And you could totally do that as a fundraiser. Like, sell stuff.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be real cute to do? Yes. Why don't we think of these things, like, for our schools?
Oh, that's a good idea. And finally, I love the Kobe Kayat song at the end of the movie.
Oh, you do?
Did I say her name wrong?
Kobe Calais.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like that song. I like real music in a Hallmark movie.
I have a fun story about her. Several years ago, my husband and I went up to Santa Barbara for the weekend. We stayed at this really bougie resort. It was a special getaway. And there was some sort of, like, function happening at the... I think it was like a business function, but it was their entertainment, and they had her there.
Oh, wow.
And her, like, stage was literally, like, by our room, so we could sit out on our balcony.
This.
Yeah.
Pretty. Did they wheel her out in a mop cart?
They did not. They did not.
That's a Swiftie Easter egg. Tell me what you like.
Okay, so fresh-faced Tyler is real charming in this movie. But I gotta say, I like the more, like, rough and tough Tyler.
Sure, I liked Tyler's evolution, but he was not unwelcome on screen.
Agree. And I could see why. I watched this movie twice. I could see why his fans really fell for him in this movie. Because to me, this was a real Taylor Cole movie. Like, she was the lead, and he was, like, you know, some newbie coming in. But, like, there were a lot of, like, little things that he did, just the way that he would say things, or he gave a lot of really good reactive faces to, like, stuff she was saying.
And the way he talks out of the side of his mouth sometimes.
Yes. He said Lucy at one time, and I was like, whoa. Yeah.
I find that very charming when he does that.
Me too. I read that the character of Lacey in the book was kind of a hot mess. I really did a deep dive into this book for some reason. And they did that a little bit in this movie, where she had, like, her disorganized file folder and her inability to organize a fundraiser. But I actually thought she came off as a real know-it-all, which drove me crazy. It's bake off, not bake sale. All that whole, like, stuff drove me nuts.
Yeah.
Finally, I really loved the Bachelor brothers, Max and Lucas Buckman, and they were played by Madison Smith and Matt Weiser. I thought they were super funny together. They played the perfect, like, competitive brothers. Like, when they were doing that interview, and the one was like, I'm making mom's pumpkin bars and whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about? I just thought they were good.
Well, and I loved the plot twist that their mom bid on their stuff. That was a great, perfect moment.
Very cute.
Perfect button on that.
And that's what I liked about it.
What'd you wish for?
Okay. If anything can go wrong for Lacey, it does in this movie. Like, her radio station loses funding. the original Bachelor backs out. She loses the bake-off location. Was that her? That was her fault, though, right?
She loses the bake-off location because she doesn't have the money to pay for it.
Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly what it was. That doesn't surprise me, though. And then Zac bounces before the bake-off, like, he's got to go do this job. How do you feel about storylines like this, where, like, everything goes wrong?
Oh, I hate it.
Me
I always
too.
hate it. But I think it's a lazy plot device. You know, non-writers in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I don't know the first thing about writing a script. Let me say my wish because it ties into this.
Okay.
One of my very large wishes that poor Taylor Cole didn't have to play this clearly smart-driven woman behaving like a bumbling idiot who doesn't understand the basic math behind income minus expenses equals profit.
Yeah.
This is, every once in a while we get these fundraiser movies, and it's like she's planned this fundraiser, and all of a sudden halfway through planning it, she's like, wait, what do you mean I have to pay for this base? What do you mean that buying beautiful flower arrangements is going to take away from the money we're making? How much money are you making on a bachelor bake-off that you can rent this beautiful space and have wedding-style flowers and catering? And no, what is happening? And why are people paying to attend a bachelor bake-off? Because she was selling all of these tickets. Who's going to pay for the opportunity to bid on a
because
bake
that's
sale?
where your income comes from, is on the, not the tickets
There
to
needed
go.
to be something else. If you want to have the bachelor bake-off, you need to have something else that these people are paying for.
Right.
What are they buying a ticket to?
I don't know.
A ticket to then give you more money?
Yeah.
And the only people who are going to actually be paying you money are the winning bids.
Right.
So you need to have multiple streams of income set up at this event. You need to be selling food. You need to be, I don't know what
Playing
else.
carnival games, having, something.
Yes.
It was not happening.
People buy a meal ticket or something. It didn't make sense to me. And then she had to change course because, oh, I don't have a budget. Oh, in comes my budgeting software knight in shining armor. Y'all, the fact. This is a perfect example of plot via AI. And I understand that the movie is based on the book that I have not read, and I don't know how much of the plot elements came directly out of the book. But look, she's a small town radio host trying to save her station. He's the big bad engineer whose software resulted in her budget being cut. Let's talk about this. He didn't cut her budget.
Oh my God, I have that. I put, yo, lazy Zac did not cut your budget. Be mad at the person who actually made the decision to cut
There
the budget.
wasn't enough money, and someone made the decision that your radio show needed to be one of the things. He had nothing to.
I know.
It's math. It's math. Remember that person who made a comment about all they do is yell, "I'm sorry, we're back, y'all." I did put a limiter in on the back end so that it doesn't actually like scream through your headphones. You're welcome. But you get what you pay for here at Girls Gone Hallmark.
Wow.
So look, there's so many pieces that don't add up for me. And there were ways for him to be there for her that weren't so on the nose of, I can write a budget. I can write you a budget. Come on.
I know.
That's what I have to say.
Okay. Let's talk about Did You See That? Did you see anything in this one, Megan?
No.
I have a list. When Zac pulls up to the bakery, gets out of the car, like he's in town for the first time. He's going to buy a cup of black coffee, right? He gets out of the car and his pants, like at the bottom, are super flood city. Like they're like all his pants are all caught up in his crotch and his.
Because he's been sitting in the car for so long.
Yes. And then in the next scene, when he walks into the store, they're like down at regular length.
He's
And
tugged them down.
yeah, and I was like, oh, that's so real.
Yeah, very relatable.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny. That's all. Speaking of black coffee, so much coffee talk in this movie. I feel like they're like, okay, one of the elements of a fall movie, we need to have lots of coffee.
Yeah.
It bugged me.
Well, here's what I wonder. This is the second movie in a short period of time where the female character has a love of sweet baked goods. Look, I don't want to be like whatever the opposite of the woke police are, but like, do women always have to like sweets? Like, it just feels like such a give us another personality trait.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that he's like, I'm black coffee and
Green
kale
juice,
salads,
yeah.
and she's like whipped cream and cookies.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's supposed to be like a direct parallel to her, like fly by the seat of the pants.
Yeah.
I don't have my act together. Mm-hmm. I don't love it.
Yeah. I like my coffee with 7 sugars and lots of cream, and it's delicious.
Which is a fine way to like things, but it's not, doesn't say anything about your personality.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, Megan.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I kind of tried to do this at the beginning, but Taylor Cole's like intense weatherman inflection when she was on the radio. Welcome back to the Bachelor Bake Off. It just drove me crazy. It was like, and this might be a local station, but like KNX 1070. Like, did your dad listen to like KNX 1070 in the car?
It was KFI 640 growing up.
100%. Like, now back with the weather, or now back with the traffic. Like, who's listening to her show?
Yeah, does
I hated
local
it.
radio show get... Well, and there's nothing interesting. All she ever does is promote.
The Bake Off. And then she interviewed the guy, the apple picker who broke his arm. But like,
Yeah, that's interesting. I want to hear local fare. I want to hear interviews. I want to hear things like that.
yeah, which made me wonder, because I don't live in a small town, but I live in a smaller city. We don't have a local radio station. Like, where do these towns exist that there's local radio happening?
Oh, I don't know that they...
I also wondered, was the program that she was going to go work for supposed to be like This American Life?
Oh, yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
Like storytelling. Anyway, moving on. When they're at the Hathaway Lodge, Airbnb, whatever this place was, bed and breakfast that her aunt was running, and they would have like a counter full of baked goods. They had this sign that said like coffee and baked goods, but the like and sign, this is a real me problem, not... Okay, you know when you... try to figure this out. You know when you make the sign where it's like a 3 and then a line through it? It's like a lazy ampersand. Mm-hmm. Is that the word? Mm-hmm. The 3 was backwards. It bugs me.
That's how it's supposed to be.
No.
Yeah.
Get out. Hold on. If I were to draw it, it's going to look like this. That's a backwards 3, right?
Yes.
That's the way I would do it. Okay. They had it like this.
Are you sure? They had a 3.
They had an actual 3. Yeah. I'm going to pull the movie up right now.
You said it was a backwards 3.
I know. Wait, hold on. Now I got myself all confused. Hold on. Here it is. I'm going to have to pause it at the exact right spot. It's a regular 3.
You are correct.
Okay, they did it wrong. Okay, it's wrong on their end, right?
I would agree with you that it is wrong.
I have scrubbed through this movie to find the exact scene, and their lazy ampersand is incorrect.
Hallmark prop intern has failed.
Okay, all right. Last thing. I got a real LOL when Zac is talking to the radio intern, which his name escapes me right now. But he's like, oh, you need to start small, like a podcast. And I just was like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think on paper it seems real easy to start a podcast, but there is a lot of work that goes into the back end of it. There's not just
what I
like...
appreciated is when that little intern dude came back. He's like, I made a podcast. And my husband was watching. He's like, oh, like it's just that easy. Like you come back the next day with it recorded on your phone. I was like, oh, look at you.
Yeah, he knows.
Yes.
Okay, I like it. He doesn't just think we just record it here on the phone.
He appreciates all the work that goes into it.
All right, let's move on to what you rated this movie.
2.75 stars.
Exact same. Yeah.
Wendy, before we started recording, she was like, the Hynes are going to come for me. I think they might. Look, there's nowhere to go but up. I loved Tyler in this movie. I'm not going to lie. I think he was a high point.
But the movie was not good, though, right?
There were elements of this movie that made it very frustrating for me to watch and enjoy. And that's part of the viewing experience. It's not just watch it on mute to see Tyler Hynes mumble out of the side of his mouth.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
a cute cardigan.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark. Please, if you're listening in Apple Podcast, pick up your phone, open up the Apple Podcast app, find the Girls Gone Hallmark page, scroll down, tap the 5 stars, and leave us a review letting us know your favorite Hallmark movie. We love your reviews. We would love to explode the number of reviews we currently have on this channel so we can be your #1 Hallmark podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.